The cleanup effort continues as tornadoes and severe storms tore through the South, killing at least 7. I'm Charles Watson in Pelham, Alabama. I'll have the latest coming up.
Plus, we are checking out the Spring Fling in Pittsburgh, where plenty of local artists and small businesses are getting together to show four-staters what they are all about. And Oklahoma's Wyandotte Nation held their first ever Easter egg hunt today. But those eggs had more than just candy in them. We are checking out the fun. Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Danny Terzer is on sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The four states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks always for tuning in. Multiple people are dead after severe storms and tornadoes tore through the South this week. Fox News' Charles Watson has more from Alabama.
Cleanup efforts are underway across parts of the southern U.S. Utility crews are clearing roadways and restoring power after severe storms ripped through the region. The storm system spawned tornadoes in Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi, causing multiple deaths. Calvin Ashworth was driving home when the storm hit Cedartown, Georgia.
It was like a loud train. That's what it sounded like.
The severe weather leaving debris and downed trees across parts of Tennessee. A dangerous storm rode through Nashville, causing damage to dozens of homes in the area. Hail, high winds, and heavy rainfall also created hazardous travel conditions during the height of the storm. In Alabama, people are also picking up the pieces. Cell phone and drone footage shows just some of the damage from the storms. Swirling clouds could be seen across parts of the state, with tornado warnings popping up in various counties. A tornado tore down street signs, destroyed homes, and left power lines dangling in this Pelham community. Rodney Petway has lived in Alabama for decades, but never experienced a tornado like this.
Sounds just like a freight train. Yeah, but it's one of those experiences that I will never forget.
Alabama Power says there are more than 20,000 residents without service, and there is still more severe weather expected over the weekend. In Pelham, Alabama, Charles Watson, Fox News.
Well, fortunately, weather here in the four-state area, a lot calmer than over in Alabama and other places. But Nick, how are things today?
Yeah, we were quiet again, Mike, because we didn't have to deal with the third round of severe weather in 10 days like we just saw down in the deep south. We had a chilly morning and a mild afternoon, 53 to start at Joplin Regional after we topped out at 74 degrees this afternoon. We did have a cold front sweep on through, though. It didn't do much for a lot of people, but in our far southeastern counties, the closer you are to Table Rock Lake, you've had some passing showers, even a couple of thunderstorms worked on through. We're still trying to hold on to maybe a few straggling showers, but by far and away, the better chances for any storms, let alone severe weather, off to our east around St. Louis, southern Illinois, and once again out in the deep south. Behind this cold front that passed on through, we're turning colder for the night ahead of us. Overnight lows near 40, but we'll be looking at another nice day tomorrow. Cooler, but nice, with highs near 61. We'll break down the week ahead of us here in just a bit, Mike.
All right, sounds good. Thanks so much, Nick. Earlier today, Down to Earth in Pittsburgh hosted their first outdoor event of the year, the Spring Fling, where more than 20 local artists and vendors came together to share their works with the community. The event will be taking place during the last Saturday of the month from now on, and it's a way for local artists and small businesses to get together and connect with one another and their fans.
Fun. We all show up, we get together, and we talk about the things that we love, and we trade and we sell, and we show our wares and we show our talents. We have a lot of really talented people. We have a lot of awesome artists just right here in our own backyard.
Items being sold ranged from jewelry, plants, and even repurposed furniture. And many of the items sold cannot be found in most common stores. The Wyandotte Nation held its first ever Easter egg hunt today, and it was a special one. Different age groups were allowed to hit the tribal powwow grounds and search for eggs filled with candy, but the fun didn't stop there. There were also eggs containing toys and even cash.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be out here on such a beautiful Saturday morning and see our grounds. This is our traditional powwow grounds, and to see it full of kids out there having fun. Yeah, I believe it'll probably turn into an annual event, especially with the success that we're seeing here this morning, and so it's something we'll want to continue on.
The hunt was open to kids up to the age of 12. But there was more than just one four-state location getting in on the egg hunt fun. Over in Lamar, Missouri, Whisper Internet hosted an Easter egg hunt around the town, although it wasn't a traditional egg hunt. With the, that looks like footage from the last one. Let's just skip this story. All right. 5 local businesses participated in the hunt. That was in Lamar. All right, it's now time to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight we recognize Harold Miracle of Joplin, Missouri. Harold served as a corporal in the U.S. Army and he fought in World War II. Thank you, sir, for your service and your bravery. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to komnewsnow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus, spring is here when the cherry blossoms in our nation's capital put on a show. We are checking out these gifts from Japan right after weather.
Overall, most of us kept quiet on this Saturday, and temperatures, as a result, were kind of nice to us, actually. Again, after we started quite cool, near 40 this morning, or at least in the lower 40s. All these partly to mostly sunny skies that we saw, not just over Indigo near Seneca, but all across the area. This allowed highs to get back into the mid-70s, and we hope you had a chance to enjoy it, especially the weather over the past few days. We went lower 70s yesterday. Actually, we went back into the mid-50s this morning, my correction there. And then we went back into the mid-70s this afternoon. Hopefully you did have a chance to enjoy these nice and mild few days, because we are now finding ourselves on the backside of a cold front, and that is setting us up for a cool night ahead of us. Certainly a bit of a cooler day for tomorrow, but it'll still be nice to wrap up the weekend. 58 in Joplin, the north breeze at 14. Fortunately, not strong enough to give us a wind chill, so when it says 58 in the thermometer, that's exactly what it feels like once you step outside late on this Saturday night. 57 in Pittsburgh, 58 in Seneca. Most of the Joplin metro sitting in the upper 50s, and much of us sitting in the mid to upper 50s right now. But you see a couple of lower 50s starting to dot the board around Iola and Yates Center. That's the hint of more cooler air on the way, setting us up for yet again a cool night ahead of us. Overnight lows, in fact, we'll be dropping back near 40, and we'll do that with plenty of cooler air underneath clear skies throughout the overnight. But with dry air for tomorrow, even though we're on the cooler side of the front, look at how quickly we go back into the mid-50s by noon tomorrow. So we are going to see temperatures rebound with a nice day lined up for us. And again, most of us enjoyed a quiet day, but if you were in our far southeastern counties, so close you were to Table Rock Lake, you actually had to put up with a couple of showers, even a couple of thunderstorms. Fortunately, nothing severe. We had some severe weather work through the St. Louis area earlier this evening, and I think the third round of severe weather within 10 days or so for parts of the deep south. They do not need any more of that. Fortunately for us, we're not dealing with any of that. Our cold front continues to push off toward the southeast, and not to mention, we're finding ourselves now on the cooler side of a jet as the main system pushing the cold front through. This upper low, in fact, is pushing across the upper Midwest. This setup is what's leading us to at least mostly clear skies for tonight, but it's leading us to temperatures downright cool to start your Sunday morning out. Overnight lows across the entire area. I'm expecting them to drop back near 40 degrees with that north breeze safely staying relatively light at 5 to 15 miles per hour. 54 by noon, and despite that northwest breeze still at it, we'll go 61 for an afternoon high across much of the area tomorrow. Fortunately, we stay dry for Monday. Temperatures staying mild, but sticking with Doug's pattern. Here comes an upper level disturbance that wants to pass well to the north of us, but it's going to pass a system on through, and you can see what that does on the 7-day. It'll give us a chance for some rain late Tuesday going into Wednesday morning. Overall, though, temperatures won't be turning drastically cooler, even with these systems lining up. 61 tomorrow, 68 Monday, 62 on Tuesday, maybe some mid-50s Wednesday and Thursday, Mike, but overall, thankfully, no more Arctic air, no more cold blasts on the way.
Sounds good to me, Nick. And hey, Nick, are you a fan of cherry blossoms?
I think they're kind of nice. They smell good.
Yeah, that's true. And this, of course, is a sure sign that spring has arrived in our nation's capital. The cherry blossom trees around the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. are in full bloom. And just like every year, lots of people have been strolling around and taking in the beauty of the blossoms. The National Park Service announced last week that if the crowds got out of control, they would limit access to the Tidal Basin and East Potomac River. But so far, there hasn't been any overly crowding. Lights were turned off in parts of Hong Kong, Beijing, Shanghai, and Singapore today as part of a climate change awareness campaign spanning multiple cities around the world. During a WWF Earth Hour, individuals and businesses are encouraged to turn off non-essential lights for 1 hour from 8:30 to 9:30 on the last Saturday of March to raise awareness for conservation. In Hong Kong, nearly 4,000 companies, organizations, and buildings switched off their lights to mark the event. Earth Hour began in Sydney in 2007 with environmentalists asking households and businesses to turn off their lights for 60 minutes to curb global carbon pollution and promote climate change awareness. The event now spans more than 7,000 cities worldwide. When we return, the battle is brewing over the U.S. military budget. After years of escalating defense budgets under the Trump administration, President Biden will reportedly not call for a spending increase this year. And that's rubbing plenty of people the wrong way in Washington. We'll be right back.
Low prices.
After years of escalating defense budgets under the Trump administration, President Biden will reportedly not call for a spending increase this year. But Republicans want one, and so does the military. Fox News' Jennifer Griffin tells us where things stand.
It's a war most longtime Washington observers say the Pentagon knows how to win. It's budget season on Capitol Hill, and the Pentagon is rolling out its biggest guns to justify a $708 billion budget request for next year, as they outline how the threats against the nation continue to grow. At the confirmation hearing for the admiral who will oversee the U.S. military in the Pacific, the Pentagon had a warning.
We've seen the largest military buildup by China. That does bring with it certain vulnerabilities.
Republicans say in practical terms, a status quo budget is a cut.
Unfortunately, reports suggest the Biden administration may to freeze defense spending. Of course, that means a reduction after inflation.
Democrat Mark Pocan of Wisconsin tweeted, "If we literally cut our defense budget in half, we'd still spend $100 billion more on defense than China, $300 billion more on defense than Russia. Please don't let the GOP scare you into any more bottomless defense budgets." According to a 16-page document of, quote, hard prep questions obtained by Fox News, the Pentagon expects Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin will be asked during upcoming budget hearings about previous statements his deputy made. Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks has argued in the past for 3 to 5% annual spending increases. One of the questions Austin expects, quote, did the Deputy Secretary change her mind, or did you overrule her? How can you justify this cut in defense spending?
Congress knows how to push back when it comes to Pentagon cuts. For instance, when the Navy recently suggested retiring the USS Harry Truman, Republicans and Democrats in Virginia both balked. Having expensive weapons built in multiple states is another way the Pentagon protects these programs from ever-looming budget cuts. At the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
A woman was hurt after a portion of ceiling collapsed at the West Virginia Capitol. The incident happened on Friday in the Capitol building's legislative proofreading room. The area is under the north exterior stairs that leads to the Capitol. The woman was taken to the hospital after being injured, and her condition is unknown at this time. Still to come, Joe Biden may have just been elected president, but the GOP is already thinking about 2024. And you can see it as potential Republican contenders are starting to test the presidential waters in Iowa. That story and more are next. Welcome back. Large numbers of migrants continue to cross over the Mexican border into the U.S. That's why 19 Republican senators visited Donna, Texas to have a look at the situation for themselves. Fox News' Steve Harrigan has that story from Texas.
Each got a very different view of how migrants are being treated. 19 Republican senators boarded gunboats that patrol the Rio Grande after touring a Customs and Border Protection facility in Donna, Texas, with serious overcrowding.
The Donna facility is a giant tent city. Built with a capacity of 250, it has nearly 4,000 people in it. We saw cages after cages after cages of little girls, of little boys, lying side by side, touching each other, covered with reflective emergency blankets.
Senator Cruz posted pictures on Twitter, writing, "This is what the Biden administration does not want Americans to see." Democratic lawmakers toured a model Health and Human Services facility in Carrizo Springs, Texas, with 4 unaccompanied minors to each bedroom, classrooms, nurses, recreation, and new clothes. With COVID distancing, the facility can hold 750 minors. Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said the reason for the surge in minors has nothing to do with President Biden.
I know that people who are living in these conditions are not turning on the news to see who's president, right? What will they be met with when they come to the border? They are thinking about what it takes for them to survive.
No cameras were allowed on either tour. Border Patrol officials released staggering new numbers for migrants attempting to cross the southwestern border. In February 2021, CBP encountered 100,441 persons attempting entry along the southwest border. That number is almost triple the number from 1 year ago, and it is expected to climb even higher in the spring and summer months. Under the Biden administration, unaccompanied minors cannot be deported. On a busy night, as many as 700 arrive, too many to transfer immediately to an HHS facility. On nights like that, a senior border official said, the children stack up. In Mission, Texas, Steve Harrigan, Fox News.
The 2024 presidential race is more than 3 years away, but potential Republican contenders are already starting to test the waters in Iowa. Fox News' Katie Byrne has more from Des Moines, Iowa.
I see a lot of cameras in the back. I think there's going to be some big announcement. We're in Iowa and all.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo making 3 stops in Iowa this week amid rumors of a 2024 presidency run.
I find it interesting that he's kind of doing all these stops when he's no longer in office. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Though Pompeo hasn't made a formal announcement, he wouldn't rule out running for president when asked by Fox News earlier this month. On Friday, he said his goal is to help the GOP win back the majorities in the House and Senate in the 2022 midterm elections.
These elections in 2022 will have a real impact on how 2024 ultimately goes as well. And it's why I'm out here today.
His Iowa visit comes a day after President Biden confirmed he's running again.
My plan is to run for re-election. That's my expectation.
Dennis Goldford is a political science professor at Drake University in Iowa's capital of Des Moines. He says an early stop like this makes sense.
Coming out this early is certainly trying to get a jump on everything. But when you come out, you want to do 2 things. You want to try to hone your message and see what works, sees what resonates among the people in your particular party, and you want to get a sense of what actual or possible support there might be.
Iowa's caucuses have led off the presidential nominating process for nearly 50 years. The 2024 caucus season typically starts after the midterm elections.
Iowa gives you that first test.
More rumored presidential hopefuls, Florida Senator Rick Scott and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, are coming to Iowa in the next few weeks. But some Republicans are still wondering if former President Trump will be running again. In Des Moines, Iowa, Katie Byrne, Fox News.
Still to come, the price of coffee could be going up. And there are multiple reasons why your cup of joe might be getting more expensive, including the current cargo ship blockage in the Suez Canal. Details are right around the corner. Welcome back to your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Coffee prices are expected to rise. According to Bloomberg News, coffee supplies in the U.S. are at a 6-year low, and that means instant coffee and coffee on the go could get more expensive. Brazil's coffee growing season has been hit extremely hard by bad weather, and coffee is also affected by a new crisis, a shortage in shipping containers. One Brazilian coffee warehouse company has been waiting for 18 empty containers to arrive, and the vessel blockage in the Suez Canal has delayed the delivery of containers packed with Robusta coffee beans. The container shortage could affect other items as well, like toilet paper. Well, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Danny Terzer. That's all coming up right here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And still to come, police in California continue to look for answers after a man stabbed and killed both a woman and the dog she was walking. That story and more are next.
When you let the good.
At least 2 people are dead and 8 others are injured after what police believe was a series of shootings in Virginia Beach Friday night. A heavy police presence could be seen well into the night as officers responded to reports of shots fired along the waterfront. Police believe 2 shootings occurred within a short distance of each other. One suspect was reportedly killed by a police officer, and a responding officer who was hit by a car during the incident sustained non-life-threatening injuries. Police say multiple people are in custody, but their involvement in either shooting is not confirmed. A woman was stabbed to death in San Dimas, California, while trying to protect her dog that she was walking. The dog was also killed. Witnesses say a man waving a knife first tried to attack another man walking along a street near Lone Hill Park. That victim escaped, but a 66-year-old woman who was walking her dog nearby wasn't able to get away. Police say she died during a struggle with the suspect who was stabbing her dog. The attack ended after the first victim came back, threw a rock at the suspect's head, and knocked him out. Police still don't know what sparked the attack. The suspect is currently in police custody at the San Dimas Sheriff's Station. Charges against him are pending. As police work to find a motive in the deadly Boulder, Colorado supermarket shooting, the community prepares to say goodbye to the 10 victims lost in that tragedy. A funeral for Officer Eric Talley, who was killed in the attack, is set for next week. Fox News' Deborah Takahara gives us a glimpse into the extensive planning that is needed for a fallen officer tribute.
So our mission is simply to take care of the fallen officer's family and the agency.
Funerals for officers killed in the line of duty take extensive planning with no detail being overlooked.
Our motto is always we get one time to do it right.
With Boulder police in mourning and still investigating the mass shooting, the Colorado Fallen Hero Foundation stepped in to plan Officer Talley's memorial service.
We can come in and say, hey, we'll take the load off of you and we'll bring in all of our experts, which will allow you to grieve, allow you to take care of what you need to take care of.
They work hand in hand with the agency and the officer's family.
We ask them, and we'll even explain, here's why we do taps. Here's why we do a 21-gun salute. Here's why we do all the things we do.
The ceremony will be filled with rituals and symbolism, honoring Officer Talley's sacrifice, but also celebrating his life. They encourage people to line the procession route to show support.
I can't tell you how much it means when we do see somebody, especially mom and kids on the side of the road holding a sign or, supporting us. It means a lot.
This is exhausting and emotional work.
It's emotional because we come into a department who just lost a family member, and we plug right into that, and we're alongside of them, and you can't help but take some of that that grief and emotion.
In the end, they will do whatever it takes to honor the fallen hero.
When someone's actually killed in the line of duty, it's a big thing. They like in this case, Officer Talley laid his life down to protect his community, and there's not a much bigger sacrifice that I can think of.
We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Stay tuned.
We enjoyed a pretty quiet day overall, at least for most of you, while we had a cold front also slip by without hardly any notice again for most of you. We did see partly to mostly sunny skies throughout the day, and after a chilly start, we did see all this plentiful sunshine pushed us into the mid-70s today. So a nice time lapse, making for a good day, not just from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, but all across the area. We have gotten past sunset though, and now we're on the backside of this frontal system. We are seeing cooler air on the way in. 58 in Joplin, the north breeze at 14, helping to bring in the cooler air that'll eventually drop us back near 40 tonight. Right now though, the rest of the Joplin metro, we're holding on to mainly upper 50s, 57 in Pittsburgh and 58s, plenty from Commerce and Miami, all the way to Oronogo, Webb City and Carthage, and even down in Neosho, the county seat of Newton County, with a couple of lower 50s on the board already popping up around the Iola and Yates Center. That's hinting at more cooler air on the way in. Until it gets here, though, most of us are still trying to hold on to the upper 50s across the region. Again, cooler still as we head into the overnight. It's clear skies behind the cold front. We'll drop back near 40, but with drier air and mostly sunny skies for tomorrow, even with a northerly breeze in play, we will see temperatures back into the 50s, well into the 50s by the time we hit lunchtime tomorrow. The Skywatch storm tracker, it's been bone dry for many of you throughout the day, despite partly to mostly sunny skies. But as Doug has been saying over the past few days, with this front rolling through, any chance for rain or storms that we had today was confined to areas close to Table Rock Lake, so areas south and east of I-44, and that's what we had. A couple of showers and thunderstorms pop up, but with the bigger system overall, we just didn't see much out of it throughout the course of the afternoon and certainly this evening. All the bigger action, though, if we could pan over the map toward the east, you can see plenty of severe weather where we don't need any more of it. We have some severe storms roll across the St. Louis area, ongoing severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings across parts of the deep south. I think this is their third event within the past 10 or so days. But once we get this cold front to work on through, we'll say goodbye to that severe weather. But for us, we'll just see this result in a cooler end of the weekend, while we also find ourselves on the cooler side of a jet, as this main upper low not only keeps us on the cool side of the jet, but also continues to push that front off toward the south and east. What does it mean for everybody for tonight, though? It means we'll enjoy no rain chances. We're mostly clear, but look at how cool it gets with that northwest breeze at 5 to 15 miles per hour. Everybody drops back near 40 as we get your Sunday morning started, but look at tomorrow. We're going to look nice. It'll be cooler than today for sure, but still mild with highs pushing near 61 degrees, not just for Joplin, but all across the region. In fact, I think some of us could hit the mid-60s by the time we head toward the afternoon. I'm hoping Max didn't lock up on me. Oh, there it goes. Let's try to zoom by the map here, because I did want to show you this. We do briefly go back on the mile side of the jet for Monday. This pushes us back into the upper 60s, but then sticking with Doug's pattern, an upper level wave passing well to the north of us actually pushes the front of the surface our way. So I'll have that try to bring in some rain chances late Tuesday afternoon through Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Now the 7-day forecast has us dry tomorrow with highs through 61, upper 60s Monday, 62 Tuesday, 55 on Wednesday. So a bit of a chilly stretch for the midweek, Mike, before we finally head back near mild territory as we go toward the Easter weekend. Hard to believe that's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, well, you know, compared to how things were a month ago, I can take some mild chilliness.
We'll take this compared to a month ago any day.
All right. And hey, let's go.
This weekend is opening weekend for junior college football. The junior college season was pushed back from fall to spring due to COVID-19. The NEO Golden Norsemen opened their season this afternoon against Trinity Valley. It's the first game for NEO under head coach Zach Crissup. NEO leading late in the first. Trinity Valley with possession here, though. Matt Morrissey finds Jordan Davis in the end zone. 10-7, Norsemen after 1. Cardinals deep in NEO territory. Morrissey takes it himself. Touchdown for the QB. Trinity Valley takes the lead now. NEO unable to rally. The Norsemen fall 29-10.
We beat ourselves today, and not anything against Trinity Valley, but they did a good job. We didn't take care of those things when it comes to not being disciplined and beating yourself today. And if we do that, it's a lot closer ball game, and we got a chance to be a good ball team.
It's rivalry weekend for Pitt State and Missouri Southern softball. The Lions host the Gorillas for a doubleheader this afternoon in Joplin. Pitt State enters the day 4-2 in the MIAA, while Southern is 1-3. In Game 1, Cammie Zimmerman knocks it into the shortstop. Her throw is off, though. Zimmerman makes it all the way around to second. Then Madison Zemansky, she flies out to left. Zimmerman gets stranded on third. Game scoreless after 4. Top of the 5th, Josie Topfee lays out for the catch. Scoreless still. Michaela Leinhart then puts it into the right corner. Lindley Parrott scores. MSSU gets by Pittsburgh in Game 1, 1-0. The Lions will go on to sweep the Gorillas. Missouri Southern wins Game 2, 6-1. Leighton Withers gets a triple. Adriana Young scores 3 of her team's 6 runs.
Feels really good, just because the amount of work that we've put in. We played a tough pre-con schedule, and it paid off today. It really did, and we found out what we can do pitching, defensively, clutch hitting. A lot of good things happened today, and now we've got to continue it.
The Missouri Southern baseball team is on the road today for a conference doubleheader against Fort Hays State. The Lions topped the Tigers in Game 1, 16-6. MSSU with 6 home runs. Game 2, Southern does it again, this time a much closer contest. Tommy Stevenson, wow, 6 hits, 6 RBI. The two teams will wrap up the 3-game series tomorrow afternoon. Pittsburgh State also in action today on the road against Central Oklahoma. In Game 1, PSU falls 8-2, but the Gorillas go on to take Game 2 10-3. Garrett McGowan tallies 2 hits, 2 runs, and 3 RBI. Crowder College has been one of the best teams in the nation all season long. The Rough Riders have won 11 straight games and have made it up to number 6 in the national rankings. Crowder aims to keep the winning streak alive today with a home doubleheader against Three Rivers. Peyton Holt pops this one up. The right fielder has it. Long throw home. Logan Chambers beats it. Crowder takes an early lead. Then Josh Patrick singles up the gap. And there goes Clayton Gray racing in. Safe again. 3-0 Rough Riders after 1. Patrick back at the plate in the 4th. Hits a bomb over the right side fence. It's a 2-run home run. Crowder gets their 12th win in a row and takes Game 1 of the series 7-1. In Game 2, Crowder going for the doubleheader sweep. Rough Riders cruise by the Raiders 16-1 with home runs from Landry Wilkerson and Gavin Glasgow. These two teams are right back on the field for another doubleheader tomorrow afternoon in Neosho. We'll be right back with more news.
Welcome back. COVID-19 restrictions have forced many college students out of their classrooms and onto computers. Now, students and their parents are questioning why tuition is still so high when they say the quality of the college education is not what it was before the pandemic. Fox News' Molly Line takes a look.
I do not believe we're getting a good value out of the money because so much of the college experience has been taken away.
Valentina Tychalski attends Fordham University in New York City. And even with COVID restrictions in place, she decided to live on campus, but her classes are online.
The connections you make within a classroom with your classmates as well as the professor, it's just a completely different experience communicating and learning through a computer screen.
With room and board, Fordham costs $75,000 a year. The school was recently forced to defend itself against a class action complaint alleging its online learning options were subpar. The lawsuit was dismissed, but Fordham's statement underscores the challenges many universities nationwide are facing during this pandemic, noting the school balanced the imperative to protect the health and safety of the campus community with our mission to deliver a high-quality education regardless of teaching modality. Some parents, footing large tuition bills, don't believe they're getting a fair bang for their buck.
I mean, clearly they ought to be doing everything they can to make the experience better.
Massachusetts dad Chris Seaver has 3 daughters attending 3 different colleges. He believes the issue of tuition needs to be addressed.
There's a market standard that has been set in terms of paying for what you're receiving, and that's been turned on its head. Yet most of these schools, some have, but more of them have not adjusted tuition at all.
Lindsay Ellis reports for the Chronicle of Higher Education and says colleges point to drops in revenue.
Taking big hits to athletics tickets and housing and dining and all of the other things that people pay for on a college campus, and spending millions of dollars on making a campus safe for the in-person students.
Class action suits have been filed against universities all over the country by students seeking tuition refunds after being forced into online learning. But many courts have dismissed those cases. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
We are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are headed to the Lone Star State for a very special 100th birthday party where you'll get to meet a World War II veteran who made history. That story and more are next. Welcome back to your News at 9. A Houston dog rescue organization has saved more than 24 pugs destined for the dinner plate via China's meat market. Fox News' Randy Wallace has the details.
It's hard to imagine, but if it wasn't for rescue groups like Pug Hearts of Houston, these little dogs would have ended up on someone's plate.
They breed them until about 3 or 4 years old,
and then they sell them off to the meat market.
This is why I do this, because if we were not here, these dogs wouldn't even be alive.
It begins in China, where dog rescuers there stop meat trucks and take as many dogs as they can. From there, the pugs are flown to Los Angeles. They spend some 20 hours in crates.
You're just madly cutting zip ties, trying to get them out as quickly as you can, because you're like, oh, not one more minute in that crate. This is where your life begins.
The fact that we're able to save these dogs and make them part of families and, bring them joy and happiness like they do to us, it's amazing. And again, the education so that people understand what's going on, not just in Houston, but all over.
All the way up, as far as you can go. Gotcha.
It's priceless.
Actually, you know what's the most amazing feeling? Seeing them sleep for the first time. It's like they decompress and they feel safe, and you can tell because that's the hardest sleep that you will ever see.
Look at that big fat one.
The first night when they're safe.
To know that these dogs came from such a dire situation to such an amazing life in the United States. They're finally pets. They're finally able to be part of a family.
A World War II veteran who helped pioneer military women in the skies hit the century mark and received a big celebration for the occasion. Martha Cowan was the star of a parade in Lewisville, Texas that made its way to her 100th birthday party, where she was met by friends, family, and well-wishers. This remarkable woman served as a World War II Army Air Corps pilot, being one of the only a few women to fly for the Corps. Cowan, who served 13 years in the military, says she is grateful for her life and its unique touches with history.
We were with the people who were training to fly to the moon. So I've been involved in a lot of stages.
Cowan's notable life also includes working as an engineer and building barges on the West Coast and having dinner with President Dwight D. Eisenhower. Well, thanks so much for wrapping up your Saturday night with us. We'll see you tomorrow for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night, and of course, stay safe out there.